are is to put the human origin on a quote unquote singular, and I don't want to call it timeline. I'm going to call it an time eternity, or a time circle if we want to call it. Because we are not going in a linear fashion. All of these things are intertwining in a way that only time or eternity or now has the precedence to say as it is. And so it was beautiful and important to see that, because when you do the work, again, as you keep seeing me do, we're going up the tree to go back up here. The reason why it's working as a tree is like the tree of life. We're actually sitting in the tree to get this remembrance of we are the tree of life. There is a tree of life within the world that we are able to sit within. There is creation coming from the tree of life as we are. And so when we understand these really important, these are not just concepts. These are, for lack of a better word, phenomenon or existences of being or of existence. It is existence in its essence. Again, it's hard to describe. We're trying to describe an essence that has no real description, that words cannot give full description to. So when we understand this, then we can understand that out of the tree we are, and these are just branches of. So the disciplines in the walk paths, as I showed you, came out of the expression and the need for expression of the divine, feminine, and masculine, which were represented and have come out and have been distilled to me through my mother and my father, so I chose my disciplines based on we're choosing how to express divinity. So that's really what a life path is. And so to make you keep seeing these branches, I chose my discipline out of the expressions of that I learned from my parents, from a discerning, I'm gonna call it rigid, but not with a negative connotation, rigid, logical type of path. And then I learned from the divine feminine how to get through the path doing this, so I can wind them both together, so I can understand how to actually weave through what it is, which is the life path, and how to create the life path in a way that is actually divine and not one that is controlled and stigmatized by control dramas. Without being able to do that, I would not be able to do that if I didn't have awareness, and awareness comes from being able to compile these things in a way that makes them make sense to self, as self has already compiled them for us to understand. So that's why we keep coming back to it, or keep coming back to self, or it sounds like I keep reiterating what I'm saying, because that is self coming back to self, which is progress. Once we hit that same number, then we elevate the next level, which is 10, 20, 30, 40. Again, we've gone through this many times, but that is the power of cycles, and that is the power of understanding the control dramas, which shows and reveals to us our life path, and how the life path is actually, again, the distillation of sources need to be expressed, and our ability to be ready and to accept and be responsible, and our desire and willingness to be responsible for that. I'm going hard. I hope y'all really are taking notes. Again, always on the stream. We have no notebook, no teleprompter yet. I just ordered one so we can get this show on the road, into the universe. But from all of that, so from life path to control drama to disciplines and work path, we then have self-authentication, which we end with in my diagram of how this is, or how it was explained, and how James Redfield explained it to us. And maybe we could flip that, because and then we could get on Maslow's hierarchy, because if we're ending there, then it would be at the peak, because what I'm actually saying is this is self actualization. This is where we recognize the self for who and what it is, what we have been sent here to do. And once we get in this kind of state, now we are truly in what I mentioned before, when the ego is fully under control of the soul. The soul is in full commanding. The soul understands that it is in the commanding position, and that it commands. And when it does, all the energies are now interwoven like this, from the mind energy, from our emotional bodies. All these energies are now focused and going towards one goal. Now my goal is strictly healing, bringing awareness to awareness so that you all can understand how you're divine. And this is how I am doing it. This is how I was taught, and how I've taught myself to do so. And now this is the best way that I know. So that is what I'm giving out. That is actually what it is. That is why I am in flow. That's why this is all streaming. That's why I don't need a pen and paper to tell me what I'm thinking. I am being led. I am writing my book. I am talking my speech. I am having my TED Talks. I'm doing what I need to do. And so by being open and acceptant of that, the channel is fully open. There's no doubt. There's no need for me to think maybe I'm going to forget what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm going to forget, because I was never thinking that. I am moving as I am being moved through, as source decides and feels that it is important for me to do. Anything else is not of my concern, period. And so when we move with that kind of being, when we move with that unison of our being, then everything honestly comes fluid. Like, things, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I've had these people I've been having through the whole really past couple months. I've been having so many people, and I wake up saying I'm gonna meet some people that I meant to meet, and I need to meet them. And I know, like, those people have been popping in, hopping in my car when I'm driving, and they've been telling me what they need as a human, as a soul, what they're here for, and it's been helping me get in tune with what I'm meant to do here, how I can help and serve those people, and how I can live a fulfilled life. Because as long as I can keep serving and do what I'm really meant to do, I love doing this. This is what I'm meant to do. I wanted to do this 12 years ago, but I was too fearful because I really didn't feel, because I didn't have the exact experience. I had the experience of being in the experience, but I hadn't had the experience of being in that experience for 10 years and analyzing and actually being through and going back into my journal and doing meditations back on it, regressions on it, doing all the things I needed to do, talking on it, having myself reminded what it is that happened in its totality. All those things allow me now to come here and do so with the confidence that, again, nobody can tell me, no, that didn't happen, or no, that's actually not how, da 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 da, or well, when everybody, nah, it's none of that. I understand what is. I am aware enough to, I understand when I've shifted my awareness to a place of higher consciousness, and I am able to do and talk about all the things that I'm doing. So it has been an amazing experience, and really a breakdown, because this breakdown, for, like Les said, I can't remember who he said it, but we teach that which we need most. It has been an amazing, I've been needing to read the Celestine again, but what's almost better than reading it, or doing the homework, or just listening and regurgitating the answers or whatever that is doing the real homework, getting in there, and then then actually, okay, going and doing the test, looking at the answer key, because then within that you can go, man. And that's what I've been doing. When I watched the Abundance documentary, I felt so enlightened, and I felt so refreshed that, man, these people who have been in this profession for 30 plus years, 40 plus years, it's the same feeling that I got when I told you that my Aunt Tony and Tony Talks said what she said about, man, Tay really know what he's talking about. Like, and my mom told me that. It made me feel great, because I'm like, I know I'm a professional. Whether or not I was confident enough to say that before, or whether or not it's because I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'd be more professional if I had a doctorate, or, I had my own clinical practice. No. You're a professional when you're a professional, when you put in your hours. And when you put in those hours, you put in your 10,000 hours, you are able to be, again, confident enough to put out what you're meant to put out. And those who are at that awareness level, or those that are at an awareness level high enough, will be able to discern your level. It's the same thing when you're in an order and you have an understanding of the hierarchy. You understand by awareness level that someone is above or below you, just by you being able to read their consciousness and utilize your understanding of self to go, I can understand that you understand